has gone wrong in the happy-go-lucky world of Nintendo. Introducing Super Smash Bros., where all your favorite characters go toe-to-toe in one 4-player star-studded slam fest, only on Nintendo 64.
So, can we all agree that this is the greatest commercial ever made in the history of television? Anyone who's been watching my videos for more than 3 years might remember that my channel used to be called Super Smash 3DS. Then when I became horrified by the idea of people calling me that for the rest of my life, and after realizing that in hindsight it was a pretty stupid name to begin with, I decided to change it to Marc Lovallo. I still use it as my Twitter handle, but even after I changed it for my YouTube channel, Super Smash Bros. Continues to be a huge part of my identity. I've used sound effects from the game in my top 10 videos, I've used the challenger approaching screen to introduce games I reviewed, I even have the Smash Bros. Symbol in my own logo. Some of you might think of me as the Mario guy, but when it comes to my favorite video game franchises, Super Smash Bros. Is right underneath it. This is a series that tons of people, including myself, just go nuts over, and rightfully so. There's nothing else like it. Crossovers have been around for decades, and video games have had their fair share of them, but the way Smash Bros. Brings so many different characters together without stripping away the things that make us love those characters in the first place has never been replicated to this degree. Smash Bros. Even helped bring some of those characters to the attention of people who weren't even familiar with the games they originated from. I'm willing to bet there are some die-hard Fire Emblem fans out there who became fans of the series because of its presence in Smash Bros. Since its debut in 1999, the Super Smash Bros. Series has arguably become Nintendo's most celebrated property. It's like a Hall of Fame, an exclusive club that only the most important characters in the video game industry get inducted into. It's a staple of fighting game tournaments, it has a violently dedicated fan base, some a little too violent, and endless amounts of theories and speculation emerge from the hype surrounding each new installment. Super Smash Bros. Is a series that millions of people care so passionately about. And to think, all this started as a quiet little passion project from Kirby series creator Masahiro Sakurai.
Yeah, that's all it was at the time, a passion project. While he was still working at HAL Laboratory, Sakurai noticed how oversaturated the fighting game scene was becoming in the arcades, so he decided to make a game of this nature that people can play in the comfort of their own homes, and with up to 4 people no less. Made with the help of his boss, the late Satoru Iwata, the project became Super Smash Bros., and Nintendo agreed to release it for the N64. To the surprise of many, including Sakurai himself, the game was a huge success that, of course, spawned plenty of sequels over its near 20-year run. I love the feeling of going back to the very first game of a series I enjoy. Seeing how it all started and finding things that later games would expand upon can be so much fun, and the original Super Smash Bros. Is no exception. My history with Smash Bros. Doesn't start here, however. Thanks to a friend of my sister's who would bring his GameCube over to the place we were staying at for a vacation one year, Melee would serve as my jumping on point, and then 4 years later I went on to Brawl, so by the time I got around to playing the original game for the first time, I already had plenty of experience with its follow-ups.
My cousins had a Nintendo 64 and a copy of the game at their house, so that's how I was able to play it, but then I got it for myself on the Virtual Console around the time it was made available for the service, so I think it was November 2009? Oh my god, that was over 9 years ago. Oh. So like with my Mario Kart series video, I'm going to go through every Smash Bros. Game and share some of my personal histories with them, while also giving a little summary on each game as a whole. This video is probably going to offend some hardcore Smash players somehow, but hey, salty Smash players aren't that shocking to come by.
Smash 64 doesn't have online multiplayer, trophies, or other things you'd see in more recent games, but even in Smash's early days, the basic foundations remain virtually untouched. The roster consists of characters from some of Nintendo's greatest franchises, and Earthbound. You fight on stages that serve as loving tributes to each franchise represented. There's secret characters for you to unlock, including Jigglypuff, also known as the Balloon Pikmin, and there's a single-player mode that has you go up against each character in varying forms, leading to a final encounter with Master Hand. I never thought anybody could make a floating hand menacing, but somehow Smash Bros. Did it. Every character comes with the tools and attributes you'd expect them to have. Mario can shoot fireballs, Pikachu has thunder-based attacks, Kirby can suck up enemies and copy their abilities, and Link's got his trusty Master Sword and weapons like a boomerang and bombs. By the way, if you ever wondered why he uses a boomerang here when he didn't have it in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, that's because Sakurai and his staff just didn't know about it. It's true. Pulling off attacks in Smash Bros. Isn't as complicated as it might be in games like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. Instead of mashing buttons in a certain way or inputting ridiculously long button combinations, all you had was a B button for special moves and an A button for regular punches and kicks. But depending on if you were holding the analog stick up, down, left, or right, you could perform different variations of those attacks. Meanwhile, the R button lets you use a shield to protect yourself from oncoming attacks, and the Z button lets you grab opponents while moving the analog stick left or right could let you throw them. This is a very simple control scheme that I think any player could latch onto quickly and comfortably, and it only gets better with future games to come. Compared to other fighting games at the time, Super Smash Bros. Was certainly unique for its kind. Winning a battle wasn't just a matter of draining your opponent's health, it was about knocking them off the stage as many times as possible. While other fighting games had health bars, Smash Bros. Had percentage meters, and the higher the percentage, the more likely you are to get launched off the stage. Each stage also combined traditional fighting mechanics with elements of platforming, as you could jump up to a smaller platform to avoid attacks from your opponent. These stages all have something to interact with as well. Saffron City has Pokemon appear that could hurt you if you touch them, Hyrule Castle has tornadoes that launch you in the air, Congo Jungle, spelled with a C for some reason, has barrel cannons moving around under the stage itself that can fire you in any direction if you land in one. Sector Z has players fighting on top of the Great Fox while R-Wings occasionally shoot at them. And Planet Zebes exists above a giant pool of acid that'll rise up and burn anyone that touches it. In the heat of battle, items would appear that could be used to your advantage. Fire flowers could let you roast your foes, Pokeballs let you summon first-generation Pokemon, Maxim tomatoes and heart containers lowered your percentage to keep you on the stage longer, and, if used correctly, the home run bat can hit other players right out of the park. This was always one of my favorite items in the whole series, especially for the sound it makes when you connect a hit. It's extremely satisfying. In fact, while we're on that subject, can I just say how much I love Smash 64's sound design? It has a sort of crunchiness to it that makes every single blow landed to a player's character seem so impactful, and all the more rewarding if it's you throwing the punches. Gunshots, explosions, crowds cheering your name at just the right moments, it's pure, unadulterated bliss. The soundtrack is a blend of original pieces and remixes of classic Nintendo tunes that are sure to bring smiles to your faces. And even though all of his voice clips are recycled from Super Mario 64, I'm always delighted to hear Mario's voice be provided by Charles Martinet. Charles Martinet. They didn't even fix that in the Virtual Console version. How odd. Going back to the controls, I always appreciated how simple they were. When you actually play the game, though, it's not exactly a smooth ride. Button inputs aren't always responsive, so usually it causes my attacks to miss or just not happen at all. Moving characters around the stage also feels a bit sluggish. Sometimes it's like moving a mouse on a string to make it jump from one chair to another, and other times it's like moving that mouse across a puddle of syrup. It's rougher and stickier. Maybe not the best comparison, but that's the closest I can get. My issues could stem from personal preference, since I was a bit spoiled by the better controls in later games before approaching this one, and it did throw me off at first with how much slower it was in comparison to its successors, but that was when I first played it nearly 10 years ago, and even after going back to Smash 64 without putting too much time into the other games first, I'm still not a big fan of the game's controls. It gets better for me every time I come back to the game, and my respect for the first Super Smash Bros. Hasn't diminished in the slightest. I just don't find myself getting totally sucked into it when playing it as a normal game, since I'm used to other Smash games being smoother and more responsive.
The original Super Smash Bros. Has a lot of nostalgic charm to it, and It's a great way for newcomers to get a feel for the series' mechanics. Plus, I've gotta give it credit for reinventing Captain Falcon to such a degree that it even crossed over into the F-Zero games. And of course, we got this scene from the F-Zero anime. Now that's a spicy anime, May. But judging Smash 64 on its own, I'd say it's aged about as well as Mario Kart 64. In other words, it hasn't. I wouldn't recommend playing it much unless you're really curious to see how the Smash Bros. Series began, or you're as big a fan of its audio design as me. With that said, here's a clip that has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but is still pretty funny.
Falcon kick! Yeah!
My brother and I grew up with a Super Nintendo in the house, but going into the 2000s, we didn't have that many other consoles to play with aside from these crappy little plug-and-play games. Then we got a GameCube for Christmas in 2007, and one of the first games we owned for the system was Super Smash Bros. Melee. I'd already had some experience with it thanks to friends of my family, so I was glad to finally get a copy for myself. And as I mentioned earlier, this would be the game that made me a Smash Bros. Fan. God, just look at it. Going from the N64 game to this is quite the jump. Obviously, it's far superior in terms of graphics, but now we have more characters, more ways to battle, more things to collect, more game modes to mess around with, and the fact that these games are only 2 years apart, not to mention Melee's 13-month development period, Sakurai and his team made a game this big that looks and sounds this good in a little over a year. That just blows my mind. And look, they spelled Charles Martinet's name right this time. This game is automatically a massive improvement over the first one. I always loved the opening cutscene growing up. It just sets up the game's tone perfectly. I don't like this face that Donkey Kong's making though. He looks like he wants to strangle you in your sleep. Everything that was included in the first game is back, but the roster was more than doubled to include characters like Princess Peach, the Ice Climbers, and the dreaded clones. Everyone has split opinions on these characters, but at least the connections make sense. Mario and Dr. Mario, Fox and Falco, Link and Young Link, Pikachu and Pichu, Captain Falcon, and Ganondorf? Okay, that's just dumb. You can earn coins from versus matches now, and they can be used to collect trophies from this ball machine. There's also a new bonus stage added to Classic Mode that could let you snag more trophies that fall down from the sky. Different types of battles were added, like Stamina Mode, Super Sudden Death, and one where you could control the camera during a battle.
Luigi, we're in Smash Bros. Melee.
Hey Mario, I'm coming for you!
I think I gotta go to the bathroom, Luigi.
Let me help you out with that! Whoa, Mario! New single-player modes are available too, like the event matches, where you had to accomplish certain goals, usually within a specific amount of time. I always hated the trophy tussles as a kid. These were impossible to beat, especially the one for Majora's Mask. Other new modes include Home Run Contest, which I do not recommend playing as Captain Falcon because that can happen, and Multi-Man Melee had you battle wireframe fighters under different conditions, like killing 100 of them or making it through a whole 15-minute fight. And along with the returning Classic Mode, there was also Adventure Mode and All-Star Mode. The latter had you fight every single character in the game, but Adventure Mode was the one I grew up playing more. Going through places like the underground maze was so much fun, and I used to pretend that the camera was crashing into this sign at the start of the F-Zero portion. I'll never forget my first time seeing Luigi appear before the fight at Princess Peach's castle, which you can influence by ending the first stage with a time that has the number 2 in it. As an avid lover of the Green Thunder, that was certainly a pleasant surprise. In fact, I'm pretty sure I reacted like this.
My baby!
Unlocking all the other characters was really exciting too. I wasn't that internet savvy as a kid, so seeing this screen was chilling. Melee was the game that introduced me to the idea of unlocking extra content in video games. Wait, there are more characters? Okay, I unlocked this blue-haired guy, but who else could there possibly be? Ooh, a red-haired guy. Ooh, a little 2D guy. Holy roly-poly-oly, is that Mewtwo? Super Smash Bros. Melee is a tremendous improvement over its predecessor. The controls are better, the characters all have greater movesets, the extra modes don't bog the game down in any way whatsoever, and the soundtrack is glorious. This was my favorite Smash Bros. Game for years, until it was beaten out by a certain other title, but I'll get to that later. Nonetheless, Melee is one of those games that really just makes me feel like a kid again every time I play it. It brings back nothing but good memories for me. I don't care how broken it is, I loved it back then, and I still love it now.
Now let's move on to Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the first Smash Bros. Game to come out after Sakurai left HAL Laboratory to form his own company, Sora Limited. My siblings and I got our hands on a Nintendo Wii in 2008, but during that summer, as the internet was just starting to take over my life, I came across the Smash Bros. Dojo, the official Smash Bros. Website that was made to hype up Brawl's release. The game was already out by this point, and I was still crazy about Smash Bros. Melee, so when I found out there was another Smash Bros. Game, I knew I had to play it. Nowadays, members of the Smash community seem pretty split about this game, at least from what I can tell. Personally, I really like it, and a majority of it still holds up to me. So, not everything.
First, let's talk about... Oh, hold on, I gotta make some space. First the Mario Kart video, and now this? Why does this keep happening to me, you stupid Wii U? Alright, there we go. So, first let's talk about that new adventure mode, the SUBSPACE EMISSARY. This is supposed to tell a big, epic story about all the characters teaming up to save the universe from being sucked into subspace or something like that. It's a 6-hour campaign that takes you through different stages, killing bad guys left and right while making your way to the next stage, with some boss fights here and there. As a kid, I thought this mode was frickin' awesome, mostly because of the cutscenes. After playing through it again for this video, turns out I don't like it much. The stages aren't very fun to go through, enemy placement gets a bit obnoxious at times, and progression, quite frankly, is kinda repetitive. It's pretty bad when the most memorable parts of your single-player campaign, aside from the cutscenes, are long, needlessly slow auto-scrolling sections where nothing happens, and there are plenty of those. As for the story, well, it's mostly set up with little payoff. Things happen over the course of the campaign that could lead to some interesting character development, but they really don't go anywhere. Other times, they introduce elements that are either never explained or quickly forgotten about. Why is Wario turning people into trophies? Why does King DDD want them? How does Rob get involved with the Subspace Army? Was he being manipulated? And how so? If the developers were so keen on telling a story like this for the adventure mode, I really think they should have expanded on the characters a little more to keep the player invested. But at least I can find some enjoyment from getting crushed by elevators. Everything else, well, it's Smash Brothers. Lots of people give Brawl a hard time for how much slower it is compared to Melee, but it's really not that bad. It is slower and maybe a bit floatier, but the characters still handle perfectly fine. The random tripping, on the other hand, I can't vouch for. It's a pace breaker and just downright pointless. But for a while, you could battle with other players online. It doesn't work anymore since the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection service shut down, but all you inexperienced players need to know about Brawl's online play was that, well,
That sucked.
but check it out, we have third-party characters now. It's pretty cool to see Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog finally duking it out, and despite me not being a huge Metal Gear fan, Solid Snake joining the roster is kinda neat, even if he seems a bit out of place next to everyone else. You can even activate codec conversations by rapidly pressing down on the D-pad while on the Shadow Moses Island stage. When this happens, Otacon or the Colonel will give you tips and trivia on the character you're fighting, and usually it leads to some pretty funny dialogue.
Something about that hedgehog rubs me the wrong way.
But why? You must have some kind of reason.
Nope. Just don't like him.
Don't worry, Snake. I feel the same way.
Falcon Punch!
I never knew I needed this in my life, but now I have it, and I'm okay with that.
It's not like you to whine, Snake.
I was just asking. Sheesh. Well, it's back to the mission for me.
All right, let's go. Ow, my butt. Brawl doesn't just bring in third-party characters, we have some first-party characters joining the battle as well, including me, Tak, Nigget, Olimar from the Pikmin series, Pit from Kid Icarus, and even Rob the Robot. I never got why Wolf was such a popular character though. He's just a clone of Fox with a slightly different moveset. And how come people keep saying me, Tak, Nigget's so broken? He seems perfectly balanced to me. Okay, maybe he's a little broken.
It's time for random trivia.
The voice of the announcer is provided by Pat Cashman, who was also the announcer on Bill Nye the Science Guy. Meanwhile, the voices of Pit, Lucas, and Lynn are provided by Lanny Minella. Other credits to her name include 4 of the Koopalings, Boom Boom and Pom Pom, not that Pom Pom, Ivy in the Soul Calibur games, Rouge the Bat in early Sonic games, and even the titular Bobcat for Bubsy 3D.
What could possibly go wrong?
Why do you care? This video isn't about you. Go away. Go sleep in your litter box or tarnish someone's mailbox. Super Smash Bros. Brawl has some more new content to bring to the table too. Challenge mode gives you rewards for completing certain objectives. CDs can randomly pop up that unlock new songs for you to listen to. Stage Builder lets you create your own stages, and despite some restrictions, I could still get away with making some nice little death traps. Isn't that right, Ike? Oh, he looks so cute! Boss Battle mode was basically a boss rush mode, and assist trophies let you summon other characters to help you in battle, including some characters that were ruined for me thanks to the internet. Lest we forget about those final smashes, I love them. They're visually pleasing, totally game-changing, and super effective. Most of them, anyway.
I had a great time with Super Smash Bros. Brawl when I was younger, and nowadays I still really enjoy it. Some parts of it are definitely more annoying than others, but if you're petty enough to let things like the tripping or the speed hinder the quality of the game for you, then maybe you're just not playing it right. And I don't want to hear any excuses about why Brawl is so terrible, so please, no Johns. While I personally think Melee is the better game, since I find it more fun to play, Brawl has plenty of its own things going for it that I feel make it a worthy follow-up. It's like comparing Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door to Super Paper Mario. One is clearly better, but the other game is still good in its own right. So that just leaves us with Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Man, I can still vividly remember getting sucked into the Smash 4 hype. It was the first time I'd ever been part of the build-up to the release of a new Smash Bros. Game, and we were getting 2 in the same year. And then, there they were, in my hands. And it was amazing.
Smash 4 shared an all-star lineup between both versions of the game, with characters from different eras in time now taking up the roster. Just seeing Mario, Sonic, Pac-Man, and Mega Man on screen together never ceases to amaze me. More amazingly, Namco wanted to use the Ghostly Adventures design, but Sakurai wanted to use his classic design, and even threatened to cut Pac-Man from the game entirely if they didn't go with his idea. Another good call by Mr. Sakurai. Little Mac from Punch-Out was upgraded from an assist trophy in Brawl to a full-fledged playable character, and who would have thought 10 years ago that characters like Ryu from Street Fighter and Cloud from Final Fantasy could get into Smash Bros? I certainly didn't. And as controversial as this might be to some of you, I adore absolutely everything about Bayonetta. Players can even turn their own Miis into fighters. Now I can fend off a horde of Wii Fit trainers with my favorite characters on my side. I also made Hideo Kojima a fighter. He needed a job at the time. You could also customize characters with different stats and movesets, although I don't really use it much. For a more personalized experience, you could attach a custom character to an amiibo figure. Smash 4 was the first game to support amiibo, and I couldn't help but indulge in it a little bit. Here we have Mechrio, trademark, HVC012, if you get that reference, I love you, Sammy, Ilvis, Butt Clyde, and Gumu Woom. I also have a Duck Hunt one, but, yeah, moving on. The Wii U version has mini trophy collections called trophy boxes, and seeing trophies be categorized like this is pretty sweet. Look at this one. Mega Man and Friends? More like Mega Man and No Friends. Actually, I relate to this very hard and I want it to go away, please. Speaking of which, Smash 4 also has some of the coolest assist trophies in the entire series. The Ghost from Pac-Man, Sheriff from the arcade game of the same name, the frickin' color TV game 15, which, as some of you might not know, was an old Pong console that Nintendo made in Japan in the late 1970s. Matches are more interesting now, since on both the Wii U and 3DS games, you can play on Final Destination variants of each stage. This is really good if you're one of those Fox-only, no items kind of players. You know, the more boring ones. Final Smashes are back, and some older characters were even given new Final Smashes, like Kirby and Zero Suit Samus. And yes, I do play as her with the orange bikini. I have no shame. On top of that, the Wii U version can let you smash with 8 players at once. You know what that means?
Battle of the Anime Swordsmen!
It's a good thing there's so many of them, otherwise fights like this would be far more interesting. Hey, look, Waluigi's still an assist trophy. I just wanted to point that out because I know a bunch of you would get annoyed with me if I did. But here's something else I'd like to point out. Starting with Melee, we got these little videos related to each character after completing one of the single-player modes with them. Smash 4 was when I started watching them more frequently, mostly because they remind me of kids' TV show bumpers that play before and after a commercial break. We'll be right back with more Super Smash Bros. Here on Nintendo TV. We now return to Super Smash Bros. Here on Nintendo TV.
You get what I mean? It makes you think of that too, right? And I'm pretty sure your spine would snap if you tried to do what the Wii Fit trainers are doing here.
Smash 4 doesn't have an adventure mode like the last 2 games, but instead the 3DS version has this mode called Smash Run. You kill a bunch of enemies to increase your stats, then after 5 minutes you battle other players. I don't play this very often, but honestly, I think I prefer this over the SUBSPACE Emissary. It's a lot shorter for one thing. Meanwhile, the Wii U version has a mode called Smash Tour. Now, what was it that Barbershop Quartet said earlier?
That sucked.
Yeah, that was it. You travel around a board, fight sometimes, pick up trophies and stat boosts, and why is this even here? It's boring. I know that Sakurai considers Smash Bros. To be more of a party game than a fighting game, but he didn't have to take it this far. I'll give it this, though. At least it's better than Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Smash 4 knew to make this a separate mode and not to base an entire game on it. Like with Smash Bros. Brawl, the extra stuff that's bad doesn't bother me at all, since I hardly go back to those parts anyway. It doesn't matter if they snuck in a terrible party game or turned the Targets mode into Angry Birds. Wait, they did what? As basic Smash Bros. Gameplay goes, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, in my opinion, is the best in the series. The physics are a perfect blend of Melee and Brawl. It's not too fast, but not too slow. The stages are fantastic, although the Miiverse stage is a bit barren now since, well, I'm sure you know what. The music's great, the visuals are great, it's just the quintessential Smash Brothers experience. For now, anyway. Which version is better? I don't think it really matters since they're basically 2 sides of the same coin, but if you really had to make me choose between them, I gotta say, I like the 3DS game a little more. The Wii U version is spectacular, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't grab me as much as the 3DS version does. Whether it has to do with it being on a handheld or just a completely different reason entirely is something I can't thoroughly explain, but using it as a portable music player does help. One thing I'll say about the Wii U version that I absolutely love is that it takes the concept of the codec conversations from Brawl and turns it into Palutena's guidance, where Pit can get fighting advice from Palutena. I had a little trouble trying to make it happen though. I think it's because I played on the Omega version of this stage. Pit, stop praising the sun and do what I want you to do. But each one is filled with humor and fan service, and it's a nice little secret.
You and Ike are too similar. No point in having 2 characters that are pretty much carbon copies, am I right?
Also, is it me or does Verity look like she can't decide what to order off a McDonald's menu?
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dick.
And I appreciate the little Star Fox references you're making there, Pit.
Everybody, stay alert! It's about time you showed up, Fox! Barrel roll! Barrel roll! A barrel roll! A barrel roll! A barrel roll!
Much like the Mario Kart series, it doesn't matter which Smash Brothers you think is the best or which characters you prefer or any of that, because everyone always has that one game they hold close to their hearts that they'll always go back to. For some people, it's Melee, for others, it's Brawl, and for a few, it might even be the original. However you grew up with it, Super Smash Bros. Was there for every kind of gamer. There's something for everybody, whether casual or hardcore. If you don't like how one game plays, you can just switch to another one. You don't like some characters? Then stick with what you know best. This mode doesn't do anything for you? Then there might be some other ones available to keep you hooked. Sakurai probably pushes himself a little too far sometimes, but he clearly has a lot of dedication, passion, and drive to make the best games he can, and he has Super Smash Bros. To show for it. I have an immense amount of respect for him and the series he created, and I'll gladly pick up a controller to jump back into that world any day. But according to the popular opinion, it has to be the GameCube controller, because apparently that's the only one that should ever be used. Come on, guys, Wii U controllers aren't that difficult to get accustomed to. They're not that bad!
I love Super Smash Bros., and I couldn't make that any more obvious if I tried. The memories I made from over 15 years of experience with each title are ones that are impossible for me to forget. You're seriously punishing yourself by not playing at least one of these games. I highly recommend you give it a look. If you want a better idea of how much people love Smash Bros., look no further than its slew of fan games. Project M is a Smash Bros. Brawl mod that makes it play more like Melee and adds some more characters and stages, and Super Smash Flash is basically a Flash version of Smash Bros., now with anime characters that really shouldn't be in a Smash Bros. Game but are playable anyway. So if you're one of those people who seriously wants to see Goku in Smash for some reason, this should help satisfy your cravings. But Super Smash Flash 2 in particular is a very impressive feat, and I say go try it out. I'll leave a link to its website in the description for you to go check out. And if there's anything I have Smash Bros. To thank for, it's inspiring creativity in the fanbase, delivering on some high-quality titles, and introducing me to Bayonetta. Oh, you can fly me to the moon any day of the week.
Is that a bet? Well, come on, darling. Let's go for a ride.
Oh, wow! I mean, I would prefer if you could fix my ceiling, but woohoo!